In the wintertime, though, if you just have a plastic doghouse, maybe for Siberian Huskies, I mean, they're probably not going to freeze to death if they're in good health and they're well fed, but that's probably, I wouldn't consider that to be adequate shelter with a wide open front with no bedding in there and just a plastic doghouse. So there is no set time. Like I say, in the summertime here, if somebody's home, they want to put the dog out in the morning and it has access to water and shade all day, and you should keep an eye on it though, because when it gets into 90 degrees and those high humidities, even with water and shade, some dogs, again, those thick-coated dogs, especially if they're a kind of dog that gets riled up and is hyperactive, they could suffer from the heat. So you need to pay attention to your dog. If you have an outside dog, it's strictly an outside dog, like I say, you need to secure a water container to make sure the dog has water. Shade and water are the two most important things in the summertime. In the wintertime, the most important thing is food and a really good shelter. Those would be the two most important things.
I appreciate that.
Another question is, if you know somebody or witness abuse going on with the animal, is there a way you can call anonymously to
you can call in neglect complaints anonymously. Abuse complaints, if somebody would call in an abuse complaint anonymously and say that the animal is injured and hasn't received any veterinarian care as a result of the abuse, we'll go out because we can see whether that animal's been injured or not. But for us to prosecute the actual act of abuse, we need a witness, to come forward and testify in court. But you can contact the Western Pennsylvania Humane Society either by phone or email or letter, and we will read over the particulars, and see if we can handle. I mean, if it's a general abuse, like my neighbor beats his dog, and that's about it. I mean, that's too vague and too general. We need to be specific.
Oh, okay.
And we like to have like specific times and the nature of the abuse. Is he beating it with his fists? Things of that sort. But to successfully prosecute an abuse case, you have to have an eyewitness willing to come forward and actually testify in court.
Okay.
Excuse me. Kathy, just so a note to all the viewers, I'm still acting as the director, of course, so I have to kind of prompt us. It's not to interrupt Kathy, and we do have time constraints, and with the technical issue, we have less time, so
Right.
I have to kind of keep us going, and that's why I always look at my watch. But with that, Kathy, I do believe you have a call.
Oh.
Actually, you probably don't. Somebody else here
You're right.
probably does, but I don't know.
Caller?
Just like it was yesterday.
Hello, caller?
Okay, somebody made a blooper.
Okay, what blooper?
I just heard music in the background. Hi, everybody. Happy birthday to everybody. Let's see who. Dawn, Shelton, and Stephen Cavendish. So far, I think that's the only birthdays for June. And if anybody else is having a birthday, happy Father's Day, and hello to everybody out there.
Hello, Donna.
Hi, Donna.
Hi, Donna.
Hi.
We're fine.
Hi, everybody.
Is there a question you want to ask the officer or anything?
Not at the moment, because
Okay.
I mean, I pretty much, I know you guys are talking about animal abuse, and that's something like,
Okay.
I can't get into that. 'Cause
All right.
I feel people, if they're gonna abuse their animals, if they're gonna have kids, they shouldn't have either one.
That's a good one.
I agree.
I
I agree.
I mean, if you're gonna,
There's no law that says a person has to own an animal.
That's true.
But if a person freely chooses to own an animal or become a guardian or assume a duty of care towards an animal, then they have certain obligations to take care of that animal as the law requires. The law sets minimum standards. It's best to go beyond the minimum standards that the law sets, but at least you have to comply with that. But like I say, there are 2 open door shelters in Allegheny County to which people can bring animals if for some reason they can't take proper care of them. As I say, there's no law that says you have to own an animal or care for an animal, but if you freely choose to do so, there are laws that tell you how you're supposed to.
Hello? Is he still there?
I don't know. You have to ask.
Hello, you still there? Oh, we lost her.
No.
Oh, sorry about that, everybody. My next question for you is, why do pit bulls have the bad reputation?
Well, they have the bad reputation because they're probably in the news more than any other breed of dog
Okay.
for doing bad things, like attacking people and other animals. So that's, in my experience, other breeds of dogs, and I don't want to single any of them out because everybody has their favorite.
Right.
But there are other breeds of dogs that can be biters and aggressive, the same as pit bulls. They get the bad rap because, like I say, they're most often in the news, and I guess their attacks perhaps cause more damage to other animals and to people than, say, an attack by a Chihuahua or a Poodle or even a Cocker Spaniel. So, I mean, the bigger the dog, the bigger the bite,
Right.
for one thing, and the bigger the damage could be done. And then if you get 2 or 3 of them packing up, they feed off of each other and the adrenaline is going, So that's why they get the bad rap. At the Western Pennsylvania Humane Society and many other shelters too, policies has changed over the years. We behavior test every dog that comes in. We don't have a blanket policy that we ever put pit bull to sleep. We don't do that. We behavior test every dog that comes in. If it passes the behavior test, then it's put up for adoption, and if it's medically sound. And we have volunteers that walk the dogs and interact with them on a daily basis to keep an eye on any change in behavior and what have you over a period of time. So our policy is that we do adopt pit bulls out. We frequently do a pre-adoption home visit. I'll go out, or Ron Smith, our other humane officer, Kathy Bricker, will go out and do a home visit to make sure that it's going into a good home and maybe the right home dynamics for that particular dog.
Okay.
So we try to screen the dog, and then we try to match up the right dog with the right household. I mean, there are some pit bull dogs that are they have their canine good citizenship. They make wonderful pets, and then there are other pit bull dogs that don't. There are a few genetic misfits out there, but then there are a lot of careless people out there, who allow their dogs to run at large, who may exacerbate some tendencies by neglecting them and or mistreating them. So I'm not in favor of a specific ban on breeds. I know some municipalities and counties in other states have banned bulldogs. Personally and organizationally, we're not in favor of a ban on pit bulls. I'd like to see every dog spayed and neutered.
Right.
I think if you neuter a male pit bull dog, it lowers the testosterone level, and that might help. But that's essentially my answer.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, Kathy, we have how about you answer this call,
Okay.
do one more question, and then we got to go to Annette because
Okay.
we're running out of daylight. We're in this case
Right.
nighttime.
Caller, go ahead. You're on the air.
Okay, this is Diane. I have a question for the guy, the policeman about dogs.
Okay.
No, if say if somebody abuses a dog or a cat, how much fine do they have to pay? And does a person stay in jail like a human being stays in jail when they do something bad?
Okay, there's 2 levels of abuse crimes. One's a summary offense, meaning if a person abuses an animal but doesn't mutilate it, disfigure it, maim it, or kill it, that's a summary offense. If found guilty, the fine is between $50 and $750. They could do up to 90 days in jail. They could be ordered to forfeit the animal if it's their own animal, and they could be prohibited from owning animals for a period of time not to exceed the maximum amount of time they could spend in jail. If they kill, maim, mutilate, or disfigure a dog or a cat, whether belonging to that person or someone else, that's a misdemeanor violation, and they could do up to 2 years in jail, and I think the minimum fine, I think, is $1,000.